How's it going, everyone? My name is Steven Michaels. Welcome to the number one Raiders radio show in the world, number one podcast, whatever you want to call it. This is the Raiders Daily. Welcome, everyone, from Spotify to Stitcher to Google Podcast to even YouTube. This thing is on. A lot of people listen on YouTube. I guess they stare at a screen, but that's okay as long as you are listening to the best in the world, and that's what you're listening to right now. So let's get right into it. As you know, it's been a crazy week, and the Raiders have traded Amari Cooper for a first-round pick, a huge win for the Raiders. Remember, Amari Cooper, this guy, he's led the league in drops pretty much his entire career. He has been giving up on routes this whole season. He's caused a few interceptions. So this is a great move by the Raiders. Now, let's not twist things here. Amari Cooper is great for about 4 games a season. Fantastic. He can take over games. We have seen this, a couple times every season. Amari Cooper comes out and just plays awesome. That is the truth, but it's not consistent. He's just not. And the fact of the matter is, Amari Cooper, he's been wanting to get traded ever since Mac got traded, even before that. Amari Cooper's agent, now you would know this if you were part of the Raiders Daily Elite. It's a subscription service on Facebook. It's a private Raider Nation palace that has the news behind the news. But anyways, I'll let you guys in on a few things here. Amari Cooper's agent told the Raiders basically before the season started that he expects Amari Cooper to get paid like a top wide receiver in the NFL. He wanted top wide receiver money. The Raiders already made a determination at that point that they were going to trade Amari Cooper. They've been shopping him for a while. In fact, even last season, they tried shopping him, but they could get nothing in return. A couple teams offered a third-round pick. This season, they tried shopping him even more. The Eagles came in. They offered a second-round pick. Who else? The Green Bay Packers. They offered a third. They could not get a first-round pick, and that's what the Raiders want. They want value out of these guys, especially first-round picks. Like Khalil Mack, they got 2 first-round picks. He was selected in the first round. Amari Cooper was selected in the first round, so they wanted a first-round pick. It doesn't matter if the guy has been inconsistent and gives up on his routes and not the same Amari Cooper that he was that 1 year. The Raiders wanted a first-round pick. Finally, they needed a desperate team to do it. And the Cowboys come in. They are desperate for a wide receiver, and they take Amari Cooper. Now, we all know what's going to happen here. And spoiler alert, this is what's going to happen. Amari Cooper will have a good game, who knows when, at some point this season, because he always does. Like I said, he has 4 good games a year. And when he does, the Raiders reporters, the ones that hate you, they are the enemy of the Raider Nation. First of all, they lie. The Athletic lies. If you are a member there, you are not a real Raider fan there. Lee Smith today blasted them. I don't know the reporter's name. I wouldn't even call him a reporter. He's a writer. But he made up a story about Derek Carr, about how the team doesn't like him because he was crying on the field. It was all nonsense. Derek Carr, first of all, was not crying. This is a guy who played with broken bones in his back, broke his leg, broken pinky finger. I mean, this guy had so many injuries and he doesn't cry, yet they think he's going to start crying over a game he's losing, where, by the way, he was getting destroyed because the Raiders don't have an offensive line. This writer goes out there and makes this huge story that all these players are telling him they don't respect Derek Carr. Lee Smith comes out today and trashes that guy. And it's a trend. All of these Raider reporters, what they do is they have an opinion now. they're not real reporters. There's only one good reporter when it comes to the Raiders, and that's Michael Gelkin from the Las Vegas Review-Journal. He's the only good reporter. The reason why is he just reports the news. But all these other guys, I think it's because the Raiders are leaving. It's all Bay Area reporters. They don't really just report the news. They always have an opinion. They hate the Raiders. They hate you. And they run their subscription site that I don't know who pays for, but if you do, I would cancel today because they are against you and they are against the future of the Raiders. They are against the Raiders right now. They wrote a lie. Lee Smith called it a lie. Derek Carr called it a lie. Rodney Hudson called it a lie. No one knows who said it. The best guess is Rashawn Melvin because Rashawn Melvin happened to be with this guy a couple days ago. Well, I happen to know certain players on the team asked Rashawn Melvin and he said he didn't say it. Now, he could just be a coward. That could be the case. If someone did tell this guy, they are cowards because they're not stepping up and saying it to Derek Carr's face, which Derek Carr said today, if anyone has a problem with him, they know where to see him. They can say it to his face instead of running to an online newspaper that no one reads. The fact of the matter is, no one probably said it. That's probably what's going on here. Nobody said it, but these guys, these Bay Area media guys, I'm not even going to say their names. You know their names. They all hate the Raiders. They want the Raiders to fail. I don't know why people don't get this already. This is why you should only be paying attention to me because, listen, I'm going to tell you, I'm not a guy who grew up rooting for the Raiders, but I cover the Raiders and I want them to win every week. I watch them. And I want them to win. I think of ways to have them win. I am all on your side. I want this team to succeed. I do criticize them, as you know, but I'm not just going to go on Twitter every single day, every single tweet, and just say how much I can't stand the Raiders and how the Raiders are terrible and how John Gruden is terrible. How do you know? First of all, I get accused of a lot of things. A lot of things. In fact, yesterday I retweeted a couple people who actually think that I speak for John Gruden. John Gruden gives me notes and I go and I speak for him. I don't talk to John Gruden. Do I talk to people in the headquarters? Yes. It's a known fact. But I do not speak for John Gruden. Again, I don't know this guy. But I'm just saying what is logical. And this is what's going on. John Gruden got a team. They were not very good, and he knew that he needs to get a team that's better. He knew he couldn't pay Khalil Mack. He couldn't pay Amari Cooper. He couldn't pay all these guys next season because the Raiders already had these guys, and they have not been winning. So instead, what do the Raiders have now? Let's see. They have 3 first-round picks next season. They could use one of those to go get a great player. Not to mention they're going to have a ton of money in salary cap. They're going to be able to get any player they want in free agency. Everyone says, oh, they're waiting for Las Vegas to win. That is not true. Next season, they are going to have a stacked team. And then the season after that, they'll even have more of a stacked team. Let's not forget, they already got a core group of guys that are really good. They got a Mo Hurst. They got a PJ Hall who's playing very good right now. They got a bunch of guys already in place that will be the foundation of this team. You got a Nick Nelson who we didn't get to see yet. Who knows how good he can be? They got a Marcel Aitman who's going to be playing Sunday. Who knows how good he can be? They got Chris Warren. You're not going to see him till next year. We don't know how good he can be. There are a lot of guys that are young that are the foundation of this team. They got Rodney Hudson. John Gruden said that guy's untouchable. He's the best center in football. They love him. So that's in place. But right now they got a lot of injuries on that offensive line. They got a big game on Sunday. I don't know if they can win it just because of that offensive line. You cannot blame Derek Carr for that loss in Seattle. You just can't. This guy, he was basically running for his life. Not even running. Every chance he got, he was getting sacked. To question this guy's toughness. Now, I can question his on-the-field play. I don't think he's been that great. He's got to get better or he can be replaced. He really could be. If he does not get better, he could be replaced. But I would never question this guy's toughness. This guy has played through multiple injuries, and he's trying to win. That's the thing, is he's putting the effort in, where there are guys on that roster who are not putting the effort in. Bruce Irvin, I think this guy's a joke. I think this guy's not putting no effort in at all. And then people ask, why isn't Garyon Conley playing? You want to know the truth why Garyon Conley's not playing? It's because the guy doesn't even know the playbook. The guy knows about 14 plays, and then they got to yank him because he doesn't know the playbook because he's not studying it, and he's not good at tackling. That's the reason why. And people want to know about Carl Joseph, why he hasn't been playing. Well, to be honest with you guys, the Raiders are trying to trade him right now. They're hoping to trade him before the deadline, but he hasn't been playing because he's been injured. But he will play Sunday. He's going to play Sunday. A lot of guys are going to play Sunday. They're going to see what they got. This season it completely went off the rails. It's not going good. So might as well try to get better next season. You can't just lay around and lose every game and not do anything about it like several teams in the NFL are doing right now, because you're not going to be any better next year. You got to do something about it when you have the chance, and that's what the Raiders are doing. They were not very good with Khalil Mack, so might as well get something for him because they wouldn't have been good with him. He's good in Chicago because he's loaded with talent around him. By the way, it should be said that when Khalil Mack plays elite quarterbacks, he isn't very good. He was good against the Packers when Aaron Rodgers was out. He was against Tom Brady, 0 sacks. Brock Osweiler, 0 sacks. Only against backup and bad quarterbacks has Khalil Mack been dominant this season. And that's the reason why the Raiders traded him. He's a great player. He really is. But he's not worth killing your team over. If you have one good player, you're not going to be a Super Bowl champion. Go look at the Texans and J.J. Watt. That's the problem. You need multiple good players. You need players all around. This team needs a new secondary, and that's why they're picking players up. Amari Cooper, like I said, this guy, he had a different attitude this season. This guy was not the same Amari Cooper that was there in 2016. This guy's agent, who John Gruden hates, this guy wants to get paid top wide receiver money. This guy never shows up. He's there about 4 games a season, then he disappears like Casper the Ghost. Might as well trade him, get a first-round pick. The Raiders are setting themselves up for success. So I can, listen, I don't think John Gruden, I don't think he's doing well because the Raiders aren't winning. But at the same time, look at the talent. I don't think Bill Belichick could win with that roster. I don't think anybody could win with that roster. So it's hard to judge a guy when you have that bad of a roster. Now, these guys, they're fired up. I encourage all of you guys to go watch what Lee Smith said today about the reports, the fake reports from The Athletic, the company that hates you. They hate the Raider fans. They're based out of San Francisco. They are a 49ers company. They hate you. And if you're a Raider fan, you better unsubscribe. If you're still subscribing, then you just hate the Raiders and you're a 49er fan. Simple as that. But this Lee Smith tore them up and tore up all of the critics. He basically set the record straight on everything. It was so fun to watch. And Lee Smith, that's another guy. He's a tough guy. He knows it's a business. He knows Amari Cooper hasn't been carrying his weight. He knows getting a first-round pick for this guy who barely shows up is a good thing. He's not going to say that to the media, but he knows it. Everybody knows it. Derek Carr, I guarantee you, if you hooked him up to a lie detector test and you asked, should we get rid of this guy and go get you a different wide receiver? And if he could deny it, and it would show that he was lying, because Amari Cooper has made Derek Carr throw interceptions. Amari Cooper on film gives up on routes. Amari Cooper drops, like I said, so many passes. He leads the league in almost every single year. This guy is not that great. He is overrated. He's great for 4 games, and that's what the Cowboys will get. A guy that's great for 4 games. Yes, he's still young. I always hear that. But he's still young. He's still young. I don't care how young he is. He has a problem with drops, and it doesn't seem like that's ever going to end. So good luck, Dallas, with that. Like I said, you should win a couple of games with that guy, but that's about it. The Raiders will take that draft pick, and they will be more than happy with it. Hopefully the Raiders can trade Carlos Joseph. They got to trade a lot of guys on this team. There's a lot of guys that I think are not putting the effort in. Rashaan Melvin, like I said, I don't trust that guy. I think he's a snake. I think he's a weasel. I would trade him. I would trade Bruce Irvin, but I just don't think there's any value. I don't think anybody wants Bruce Irvin. Everyone sees the film. I watch film. That's all I do. There's no doubt in my mind that every single scout and GM watches the film as Bruce Irvin takes plays off. Meanwhile, you got guys, the foundation, like Arden Key. This guy's going to be a superstar. I promise you. Wait till next season. Guarantee you this guy gets 10 sacks. Mark my words. Arden Key is going to be a breakout superstar. And all of these anti-Raider reporters, what are they going to write? Hopefully nothing, because hopefully the Raiders are no longer there. And I am the one who is against relocation. I hate relocation. I wish the Raiders could stay in Oakland forever, but it's gone too far. These people hate the Raiders. They hate the fans, obviously. The Raiders need a fresh start. I don't care if they go play in Arizona. I don't care if they go play in Connecticut. They need to get out of there, lose those people, lose that bad energy they get from there. And like I said, it's from the San Francisco, it's all from San Francisco. If you notice, The Athletic, they're based off there. All those papers, they're all based in San Francisco. Those are the people that are hammering the Raiders on everything they do. They can do something great like trading Amari Cooper for a first-round pick, but they don't get credit for that. No, of course not. Instead, they'll say, oh, there's a divide in the locker room over it. People are upset. There's not a single person on that team that is upset about it. They knew going into the season that it was possible. Amari Cooper's been distant the entire season from players. They knew this was bound to happen. So to write that they're upset about this is a complete lie, and I'm telling you this. This is what I'm trying to explain. These people are flat out lying to you. They are lying to you. They don't have the passion to cover this team anymore. You notice how listen to me, I sound like a crazy man. I have the passion to cover this team, and that's what I do. I'm a commentator, though, even though, some could call me a reporter, but I don't do that because I'm not a writer and things like that. Even though I'm a better reporter than them, I get better news than them, and obviously, my show's better than theirs because I have the #1 Raiders show. They hate that. They hate that, and that's why they all tried to be me. They all tried to have their own opinions and things like that. You can't do that. You can't be me because you can't beat me. That's the problem. You can go work for a $26 billion company. I don't know what the hell that Athletic is worth. I know people keep throwing money into it, and mark my words, 3 years it will die. And then the Raiders are leaving. They're skipping town. That's why they all hate the Raiders. But let me assure you, Raider fans, this team, they're not giving up. There's no tanking going on. Now, I would argue it would be a good thing if they lost against the Colts, a good thing if they lost against the 49ers, a good thing if they lost against the Cardinals, because then they would get maybe the #1 pick overall or the 2nd pick overall. So it would be a good thing. But this team has way too much pride. And with the stories coming out about Derek Carr, the fake stories, I should say, coming out about Derek Carr, I think he's going to go out there, and I hope he does. I'm banking on you, Derek Carr, to do this. If you don't, you'll hear me right here calling him out Sunday and saying the things I have said before, that I think this guy has regressed. But I am banking on him to go out there and ball out. Now, I know it's going to be hard with that offensive line. You're going to have to use your legs. John Gruden's going to have to come up with creative ways to get Amari Cooper. I almost said Amari Cooper. Derek Carr to do some options and things like that, bootlegs, get him to run and throw. This is what he has to do. He has to throw on the move. He has to have that protection. They have to stay up and protect Derek Carr. Now, it looks like there will be no Kelechi Osemele for this game. That's not good. Looks like we're going to see, Justin Murray? I know they signed Denver Kirkland up. Denver Kirkland's terrible, but who else do you got at this point? You got Colton Miller on one leg. This is not good. Not good. So the Raiders got to figure something out to give this guy time. Marshawn Lynch looks like he played his last down with the Raiders. He could technically make his way back in December, but I doubt he's going to come back. I don't know. Maybe he does. Maybe for the last home game in Oakland, but it's not looking good. So they're going to have to go with the old Doug Martin. How funny would it be if the old Doug Martin goes out there and runs for 150 yards? That would be the greatest thing in the world. I don't think it'll happen, but it sure would be funny. The Raiders' defense. Now, Derek Carr said something weird today when he was addressing all these things. By the way, I would go watch that too. Basically, he called all the reports lies, and, he basically just said, you guys are dummies for saying I was crying. Listen, I don't blame the guy. People are going to say, why are you defending yourself? Of course he's going to defend himself. When you have people making up stories that he was crying, of course he's going to defend himself. What else is he going to do? You would do the same thing. So, Derek Carr, he's got to go out there and he's got to throw the ball. But, listen. He's got to get Doug Martin. Doug Martin has to run, and his wide receivers have to help. And hopefully, the Raiders and Derek Carr, they can just light the Colts up. The Colts are not a good team. They're really not. And the Raiders need a victory. They really do. I think they need a victory to shut these people up. So maybe the Raiders can do that. I'm sorry, I got off track about 10 seconds ago. I do these shows live, and I forgot what I was going to say. But it's always a disaster here. That's why it's so fun to listen to. So anyways, the Raiders are playing the Colts. Like I said, they're banged up everywhere. But, Derek Carr said something about the defense. It was strange because he was talking about the offense, how they're so close together. And it showed with Lee Smith's words. It's the defense that's the problem. The defense, I think, lacks effort. And it shows with Bruce Irvin and Rashawn Melvin complaining on Twitter. Oh, they want to change my style. This guy's been on 3 different teams in 6 years. There's a reason why that's the case. Because no one can take him because they think he's a head case and they think he sucks. So, he's complaining. I think the defense overall just does not play hard. That's why they got rid of Derek Johnson. I think they got rid of Derek Johnson just because he sucks. But Reggie Nelson should go. He really should, but they don't have anyone else for him. And at least Reggie Nelson, from what I understand, he's still all in. He's still trying. It's not a lack of effort. That's the thing. Yes, this team is not playing well, but they're trying. And if this team can somehow on defense make a play once in a while, maybe, just maybe they can beat the Colts. They can go to 2-5. Then they play the 49ers. If they win that game, it's going to be really awkward because the Raiders are only going to be a game out from the wild card race. That's going to be really, really awkward if the Raiders win 2 games in a row. Because if you're John Gruden, what do? You're only a game out from the wild card if the Raiders win 2 in a row. That's how bad the AFC is. Everyone's 2-3 right now, or 3-2. Everyone, except for the teams that are in first place. Except for the Patriots and the Chiefs and those teams. But the AFC South, they're a disaster. All these AFC teams that are trying to get a wild card, they're all of them. They're 3-2 or 2-3. So in 2 weeks, who knows? They could be 2-5. And so it's going to be weird. It's going to be really strange if the Raiders win these next 2 games and a lot of teams lose. Because then John Gruden, he might actually say, well, maybe we can get a wild card spot and go grab some free agents. I know he doesn't want to do that because in his mind, he thinks this team just doesn't have the talent. So let's just try with the guys we have. If we lose, we lose. We'll try, but if we lose, we lose. We get a good draft pick, or we get a lot of draft picks. And the off season, we have a ton of money to fix all these holes, and then we can compete next season. Now, where will they compete? That is another story. Oakland does not want the Raiders, and the Raiders got to find a place to play. There's a lot of rumors where they could go. Mark Davis does not want to share a stadium with the 49ers, even though that seems like the most logical thing to do. He does not want to do that. Oakland saying they're going to sue them, and then they want to steal the logo and the colors, which I don't know how any Raider fan can be for that. They're obviously not Raider fans. Who would want to take... I lived through this. I grew up a Houston Oilers fan, and I watched as the Houston Oilers became the Tennessee Titans. It's not fun. Trust me. Do you think I'm sitting around and watching Marcus Mariota every week? No. I don't even know what the Texans' record is. I could care less about the Tennessee Titans. I mean, Jesus. I mean, who would want that? Who would want to destroy the Raiders other than the reporters? If fans do, you're not really a fan, man. Let it go. Let the team... Who cares if they play in a different state? It's going to kill you to go see them? What is that? I mean, I got a next-door neighbor who drives... He's a Steelers fan. He drives like 8 hours. More than that. To go see Steelers games every weekend. It's a commitment. He loves the Steelers, so he does it. He drives to Pittsburgh. I live in Massachusetts, people. He drives to Pittsburgh when the Steelers are around, and he'll drive to Baltimore if they're playing Baltimore. He's constantly at the game. That's dedication. And just because your team moves does not mean you should just say, oh, and throw up your hands and say, I want them to not exist anymore. That's being a coward, just like some of those players are on defense, just like the Athletic is. Burn them all down. Don't support them. Support the best in the world. That is me, the Raiders Daily. I will see you guys after the game on Sunday. We'll talk about it, win or lose. We will talk about it. I don't think they're going to win, but who knows? Like I said, Derek Carr's going to be real mad. Maybe he goes out and just balls out and throws it all over the field. They don't need Cooper. He's never there anyways. Maybe Brandon LaFell gets active. They're talking about it. And maybe he has a huge game. Maybe Jordy Nelson has a huge game. Jared Cook. You never know. Maybe Lee Smith says, I'm so sick and tired of this. Just throw me the ball. And he starts being beast mode all over the field. Even though he's slow. He starts smacking people in the head. Who knows? But the Raiders should go out there, and Gruden should get this team prepared to go out there and just make a statement and just kind of rub it in their faces. That would be fantastic. But I don't know if they can do it. We shall see. That team is old, very, very old. Like I said, Reggie Nelson's 100 years old. Leon Hall, he's pushing like 80. I mean, you got some old guys on that team. Very, very old. So we shall see what happens. That is the show, everyone. Thanks a lot for listening to this glorious show as I trash everyone and I say how great I am and I say how great you are. The Raider Nation. Stay united. Don't be divided. My name is Stephen Michaels. This is the Raiders Daily.
The podcast you just heard was published with Anchor. Got something you want to say to the creator of this show? Send them a voice message using the Anchor app, free for iOS and Android.